As a child, I always wondered how he survived. The house was enormous, and in all the years I was there, I never saw anyone else around. But now, standing in the attic, I realized it was the kind of house that could swallow people whole. I was instructed to head upstairs and do the attic, a dark, dank space.
You are listening to the Fearcast. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill.
When I was 17 that summer, we cleared out Grandpa's house when he died. The house was creaky and empty, set in the hills beyond Dunwich, covered in ivy and suffocating under the strain of time. My mum, my aunt and I had the daunting job of cleaning it out, each room holding dust, cobwebs, and secrets we had not been prepared to deal with. Grandpa was always a mystery. As a child, I always wondered how he survived. The house was enormous, and in all the years I was there, I never saw anyone else around. But now, standing in the attic, I realized it was the kind of house that could swallow people whole. I was instructed to head upstairs and do the attic, a dark, dank space that seemed not to have been disturbed in decades. All the rooms were vacant, save for this one. There was something strange about the feeling of stagnation, as if the walls themselves had been holding their breath. I discovered an old CRT television in the far corner, hissing quietly with static. 4 unlabeled VHS tapes lay in a tidy pile beside it, each bearing only a number, 1, 2, 3, and 5. No tape 4. My chest closed up at the idea. Why wasn't there a 4th tape? Something about it not being there made me deeply uncomfortable, as if the number was something I wasn't meant to find. I didn't know why it annoyed me so, but then again, I couldn't help thinking that all that stuff in the attic was keeping secrets. Against my better judgment, I inserted tape 1 into the VCR. The screen came on, displaying a grainy, dizzying scene. It was a birthday party, but not mine. The children's faces were blurred out, contorted in a weird way, as if they were fighting to be visible. One of the kids didn't have any eyes, just plain, featureless skin. The others were indistinguishable in the foreground, clapping but not moving. Their arms froze in midair, their hands motionless. The video wasn't correct. The room itself didn't seem familiar. It was the living room, I thought, but the furniture seemed off. Too big, too small, distorting with each shot. The entire scene was moving in a way that didn't add up. It was like I was looking through the eyes of a stranger who had never stepped into this house. A wave of nausea built up in my chest. I couldn't keep watching, even with the laughter of children filling the periphery. It should have been reassuring, familiar, but it sounded so empty. The noise wasn't authentic, it was distorted. And under it, there was this other voice, low, wet. It sliced through the sound as a knife, raising hairs on the back of my neck. The voice was slow and intimate, closer still, as if speaking directly into the camera, to me. "You haven't noticed yet." The tape ended abruptly and the screen blacked out. I sat rooted, staring at the dark TV, my heart pounding in my ears. My fingers trembled as I grasped the remote. It was a glitch, I reassured myself. Perhaps some antiquated video taken by some other family. There had to be a reasonable explanation. But the deep recesses of my mind realized that it was something greater than that. I pressed play once again, hoping it would be better the second time around, that the next tape would provide some insight. The second tape was no improvement. The camera captured our home, the one that was so familiar to me, and yet everything was off. The walls were twisted in ways that made no sense to me. Doorways opened wider than they were supposed to, and colours had dulled, as if life was sucked out of the walls. A small child sat in the living room, whispering into an old, static-ridden radio. I couldn't hear what she was saying, but the hairs on the back of my neck stood on end at the voice. too low, too quiet. Yet it was as if she was directly in my ear. Beyond her, in the glow of the TV, a figure loomed in the dark, tall, stiff, its face obscured in shadows, but the shape of its presence caused my gut to knot in discomfort. When the girl whispered, the figure shifted. Unnaturally, slowly. Like a puppet controlled by strings, it inched toward her, but she never saw it. The camera, however, did. It hung there, taking in the odd shift. Then the camera swung back and the screen went black. It was the same voice once more, deep and wet, whispering in the quiet, just before the tape ran out. "You noticed!" I leapt back, my heart racing in my chest. My forehead was slick with sweat as I attempted to talk myself into thinking it was a trick. A joke, perhaps, but every instinct within me howled that it wasn't. Something was amiss, horribly so. The third tape was worse. It began with a view of the attic, the same attic I had just entered, the same cobwebs, the same stacks of misplaced stuff. The camera closed in on the corner that had the TV, and I stood still. It wasn't where it was supposed to be, not like this. The camera moved slowly, intentionally, and then shifted its focus to me. In the corner of the room, where I was standing just moments before, a figure emerged. It was an exact duplicate of me, same size, same attire, but its face was gone. No eyes, no nose, no mouth, only smooth, featureless skin. I experienced a sensation of panic sweeping over me, but I couldn't look away. The figure didn't stir, but I could sense its presence, heavy and oppressive, as if it was staring at me. The camera lingered on it for what seemed like hours, but I knew it was only seconds. And then, just as I was ready to slam stop, the screen flickered and flashed a message. "You are out of order." I tore the tape off the VCR, pounding my heart, rushing blood in my ears. I didn't know what I felt anymore. Fear, rage, confusion. It all blended into a sick feeling that squeezed my chest. I couldn't explain it, but I couldn't let up either. I sprinted downstairs, even hoping that the terror would subside, but the crawling feeling of fear adhered to me, even as the sun set below the line of buildings. I locked myself in my own bedroom that evening, but no matter how I tried to forget, the echo of that voice, low, wet and slow, lingered in my head. "You haven't noticed yet. You noticed." The following day, I returned. The tapes were missing, all of them. In their stead was one new VHS titled 4. I hadn't any idea how it had ended up there. I had burned the previous one. I didn't even think twice. My hands seemed to belong to someone else now, shoving the tape into the VCR. The screen flickered to life, depicting a hallway. It was my house, but askew. The walls curved inward, the floor was askew, and at the far end of the hallway was my bedroom door. The camera didn't proceed forward, however. Instead, it shifted, aiming toward the mirror hanging on the wall. And there I was, lying in my bed, just as I had lain the previous night. The camera stayed there for what seemed like forever. I watched myself sleep, completely unaware of the figure standing in the doorway behind me. The air seemed to thicken, the room growing colder, as if something in the house was holding its breath. Then, a pale hand, long, thin and trembling, entered the frame behind me. It reached out slowly, deliberately, as though it was aware of my every movement. My breath froze in my throat as I saw the figure's fingers move toward my sleeping body. The hand was only inches from me, but before I could be touched, I ripped out the tape and tossed it into the fire. I saw it burn, but the lingering coolness didn't abate. The fear worked its way into my marrow, as if someone remained, observing. A month after that, we vacated, sold the house, and never looked back. But even when we left, the feeling didn't subside. I couldn't shake the feeling that something had travelled with me, as if the house had left a piece of itself behind. The static never ceased. Late one evening, the voice returns, seemingly from the television, even when it is turned off. "You are out of order." And occasionally, upon waking, the closet door will be open and I'll have no memory of opening it. I know that I did not. But it is ajar, and I hesitate for an instant, wondering if the house remains, waiting, still manipulating the strings, waiting for me to see again. When I am unable to endure it anymore, I pack my bags and set off to abandon this world behind. But the voice is always there following me, tenacious and haunting.